الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran,
ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون.
True piety does not consist in turning your faces towards the east or the west. But truly pious is the one who believes in God, the last day, the angels, the revelation, and the prophets, and spends his or her wealth, however much he or she may cherish it, upon his or her near of kin, the orphans, the needy, the wayfarer, and the beggars, and for the freeing of human beings from bondage, and is constant in prayer, and renders the purifying dues, or the zakah. And they who keep their promises, whatever they promise, and are patient in misfortune and hardship and in time of peril. It is they who have proved themselves true, and it is they who are conscious of God. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah is describing al-birr, which is sometimes translated as piety or righteousness, and emphasizes the fact that birr is not simply conforming to the outward aspects of worship, meaning turning your faces to the east or the west, or the outward aspects of these forms of worship, but rather it is comprehensive. And in this ayah itself, if you look back on it and reflect upon all the things that are described, it mentions that birr consists of something very comprehensive, internal, deep, soundness in belief, kindness to those who are less fortunate, social justice in terms of keeping your promises and other forms of justice, and just the correct behavior and attitude in times of hardship and in times of turbulence. And I wanted to focus on one aspect of this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says all these things are part of birr, and I wanted to focus on the spending on those who are less fortunate, and I want to use this to connect it to something larger, which is sacrifice. It's interesting that we use the word sacrifice, and in Arabic the word tadhiyah is used for sacrifice, giving something that is dear to you, it's hard to give up, and you sacrifice it. But this word is actually not used in the Quran. Any word that can be translated as sacrifice is used just in the context of animal sacrifice, or when Ibrahim alayhi salam receives the inspiration that he has to sacrifice his son, but not in the way we're talking about sacrifice, but rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses words of trade, like spending, buying, and Allahu A'lam, these words are used to emphasize that we have control over our choices, and our choices come with natural consequences, just like buying and selling something. It's not something you randomly give up and you get something randomly in return, or vice versa. But you make a choice, you buy or you sell something, and every choice comes with this price, or comes with a compensation. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran,
أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة فلا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينصرون.
All who buy the life of this world at the price of the life to come, their suffering shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that those who give up the life of the hereafter, they have bought it they have bought the life of this world with that price. It is not random, it is a deliberate choice taken on their behalf. So the ayah I wanted to focus on and I want to reflect upon is ayah in Surah Al-Imran.
لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم.
You shall never attain true piety unless you spend out of what you cherish yourselves. And whatever you spend, verily God has full knowledge of it. So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says is that you may do a lot of things to attain piety, but you will never attain true piety until you do this thing. And what is it? Spend out of that which you cherish. Now it's interesting because just as charity has been left open, and the Prophet ﷺ said charity is not just money, charity can be a smile, charity can be helping, removing an obstacle from one's path. All these are forms of charity and serving. Similarly, in this ayah, spending from what you love. So many of us love money, and so of course spending out of what you love, spending your money for the sake of others is a means of attaining piety. But for many of us, it could be something else. What about your friends? Something you cherish and you love. Spend so much time with your friends, but what does it mean to spend of your friends or your friendship or sacrifice your friendship? Well, what if your friendship is keeping you away from other things that should also be a priority in your life? What if we're spending so much time with our friends and so much time socializing that we don't spend enough time with our family? What if we get so involved with our friendships and our socializing that we're neglecting our prayers or doing other things that we want to be doing that bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this doesn't mean we cut off our friendships, but it means that we recognize that some of this thing that we cherish, our friendship, may be keeping us back from other things as well. So we spend from it, we sacrifice a little bit of it. So I want to have an assignment for all of us, which is that whenever we're in a situation where we're torn between two things, something we should do, we know we should do, and something we actually want to do, stop for a second and observe yourself in this moment. And this will be a wonderful teaching opportunity to observe yourself and learn what is that thing that you love so much that it's keeping you from doing the things that you know that you should do. And once you've recognized what that thing is, whether it's money, friendship, your ego, any of these things, attachment to another person or to a certain object, if it's keeping you from doing something, this is something that you cherish, and it's something that if you sacrifice just a little bit of it, perhaps you will become closer to attaining piety. And of course, these things can be done slowly. It doesn't have to be a 180-degree overnight turn. Sometimes it's just giving a cherished piece of clothing or a piece of electronic equipment, a game or something, giving up watching TV, something that you give up for the sake of doing something better, something greater that's more aligned with what you want to do. And remember that the Prophet ﷺ told us that those deeds that are best are those that are constant, even if they are small. So don't be afraid to start small and start sacrificing those things that you cherish for the sake of attaining birr, piety and righteousness. Wa jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.